And good morning and welcome to your Monday. This is things you might not have heard for this Monday, May 30th, 2022. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. We're a bit off schedule today because, well, it is a holiday. There's a lot of things going on. Actually, I got up early to get my grilling game going. So I got my stuff, some stuff already marinating, some stuff crock potting, some stuff baking to prepare for a bit of a feast for the grilling start of the unofficial start of the summer, the grilling start of the summer, things going on. And we're going to do a lot of talk about Memorial Day coming up towards the end of this program. We also have a lot of stories to get into today. It just turned into a big sort of, I don't know, the perfect storm of things to happen today. So we're kicking things off about an hour later than normal. And we want to make sure we got a big supersized version in today because Friday, we're going to take a bit of time off because we have to take care of some family business. So we're going to be literally in transit, nowhere near time to stop and do this for Friday. So your Friday is going to be a bit disjointed. So we're going to make it up to by giving extra Monday, give you an extra time to sleep in and get this thing going. Jay Cleveland Payne, as it says as my name, and every single Monday through Friday, every single 5 days a week, except this Friday, we provide for you some things to take to your water cooler talk, things that you might not have picked up on in your news coverage, especially if you're not a big news fan. If you're not a big news nerd like I am, these are some things that you might not have picked up at all. Even if you do watch the CNNs and the MSNBCs, we call ourselves your news side piece. We call ourselves your news tertiary news source. We are a source of news that is not supposed to be your main news. Most of the stories we're picking up from, and we scatter a lot of different sources, gives us a long time to pick up on things. So we try to focus, give more time to some things that may have been missed, things that may be well off the beaten path. All we do pick up on some of the main stories and give as much commentary as we can, or as I can here. Stop our main website, which is thisisaconversationproject.com for more details about the Conversation Project. If you're seeing us on our Monday, you're wondering why is this thing popping up in this feed. On Mondays, we provide an extra smattering of coverage as we continue to go through on my main Jay Cleveland Payne pages for a little recruitment. Most days a week, 5 days a week, this is found on the Conversation Project pages, project links, and you can go to our main website to find out how to keep up with those links as well. So get this, if you deem this thing pretty cool, get it 5 days a week. Also, if you deem it also cool, find ways to join in on the partnership and the sponsorship bandwagon. Keep this thing going to greater heights. Let's start off with the news quickly because we got a lot of stories to get into today. Story number one, Boston University issues largest tuition increase in 14 years, blames inflation. And so the argument continues on what's going on in higher education. It costs too damn much to go to school. And Boston University is putting up an increase this year. They're saying it's July highest in 14 years, 4.25% for the 2022 to 2023 academic year. And why? They're just flat out saying life costs too much. Inflation is too bad. We've got to keep up with costs, got to keep up with prices. Many people will argue that inflation is a scapegoat because higher education costs too much as it is. If education is the equalizer for all of us, then why is it so hard to obtain a higher education, obtain more training? The simple answer is cost. It costs money to get. If it's worth something, it's worth paying something for. And this is not just saying I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to Yale, although here we are talking about Boston University, not quite Ivy League, but pretty darn close. To get a upper tier education for what it's worth costs that much more for whatever you're getting. What you're paying for, not going to a Harvard, Yale, Boston University, United State College, or even a community college, is essentially a brand name. It is it's the swatch of watches in higher education, if you will. And when they go out of style, sometimes they go out of style. This is not going to be the first university is going to call for a hike in prices. Basically, prices go up every single year. But Boston University is saying this 4.25% increase is based solely, or mostly, you say, on the fact that inflation is making them pick things up. Inflation is making you cost more money in your gas tank, more money at the grocery store, and yes, more money at the university as well. Second story, Fox News, Arthel Neville pleads for gun control. Mediaite.com is the source for this one. Let's get the full headline because you got to kind of get the full headline on this one to really understand what this goes into. Bear with me while we have a little bit of lag going through. We're going to switch this thing in a second. And, of course, some ads because ads. I understand that because I'll have ads in a second as well. So the full headline: Fox News anchor makes impassioned call for gun control, cuts off colleague who said Biden isn't uniting. He can't do it alone. Arthel Neville is essentially the lone light in the dark over at Fox News right now, as the craziness that happened last week at the Uvalde shooting in Texas, when Fox News wanted to blame violent video games instead of anything else, to kind of change the subject, because, of course, 2 days later, the NRA was starting their big conference in Texas, and you couldn't distract, say guns was a problem. All NRA was doing their thing. Arthel Neville is doing something that's unique at Fox News. Now, the crying sort of baby liberal heart thing happening at other stations is not necessarily anything new, because that's what you do. You take a side on these things, and it's hard to not take a side on what do we do about all these guns when we have situations like what happened in Uvalde and in Brooklyn a week before, and just I think there have been 22 major shootings this year. Some just huge amount, and multiple shootings of smaller count, if you call it that, over weekends all year long. And this is only the 5th month, and not even quite the 6th month of the year. We're 2 days away from halfway through the year. Arthel Neville had a guest on who was essentially, doing the Fox News thing and just, bitching about Biden, to cut her off to say, look, Biden can't just do this by himself. People have to get this. This is something to behold. And let me put this straight first. Number one, I am not about anybody not trying to keep up with their gig. And Fox News may be kind of a, not the best source of information times, but there are people out there who need these jobs, and we need this out there. And we also need to hear that side of the story a lot of times, so what it sounds like. However, when people are able to kind of break away from what the norm is and do something that is, in this, I'll say, pretty right, pretty good, we like that. Big fan of Arthel Neville, very big fan of her for a long time. Most of the time in early days when I watched more Fox News, she was put in the entertainment type of stuff and the light stuff. Now they have a lot of people filling in for stuff because they're out of anchors, and she gets a chance to go on air and go live and sort of blast, reflect a bit of the Fox News message. So thank you, Arthel Neville, for doing that for us in the past couple of days. Snoop Dogg cancels upcoming non-U.S. shows. People.com is our source for this one. Everybody's trying to get on the road for the summer, trying to get on the road because that's where money is made. Snoop Dogg is not going to be able to do that. He is knocking out his non-U.S. shows, quote, due to unforeseen scheduling conflicts. He was ready to get on the road. He was ready to do his thing, but he's basically going to stick around in the States and not to go far. He says he has regrets, but it's just the way the situation is right now. And the statement also explained that the decision came to cancel the international performances was due to unforeseen scheduling conflicts, including family obligations and upcoming TV and film projects. He wants to do stuff, but he's got some other things lined up, and that way the European leg, the non-U.S. tour stuff, just out of the question. That happens. Scheduling conflicts. You may not like to hear something like schedule conflicts, but if you're here in the States, you're probably going to get your show. Those overseas will not. Speaking of shows, Tom Cruise Top Gun Maverick opens 124 million at box office. Variety.com gave us this one. And so opening nights, basically Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, halfway through the weekend, they open up at 124 million. So I don't have a full number of that. We'll see if this in fact, I don't have that article loaded up, so we're going to, not see what the actual update is. But Top Gun Maverick, a story that took essentially 30 years to make, or 30 years to produce, bringing Maverick back into the cockpit, which because Tom Cruise is like aging backwards or something like that, sort of makes sense, weirdly enough, while he can essentially train Goose's kid, who didn't exist, I don't think, in the movie. Well, Tom Cruise is back. Maybe. Sort of. Kind of. People are claiming that the Tom Cruise portrayal in Top Gun Maverick, bringing back the old Maverick, the old character, to the new light, is a part of a new sort of coming back tour. Basically bringing Tom Cruise back into the fold as a regular person, as a blockbuster actor. He also has, of course, another Mission Impossible coming up and some other things in the works. There'll probably be 2 more Mission Impossibles. And Tom Cruise is like 800 years old, so I'm not sure how he's going to do that. Him and Tom Brady are, doing this thing well beyond the years they're expected to do these things. But we'll see Top Gun Maverick doing its job, making a big opening weekend this weekend, bringing older people, bringing people with actual cash back to the theaters. And so we'll see if theaters are back, if Tom Cruise is back, if the whole thing is back. Next story. Man pleads guilty to murdering chiropractor who couldn't fix his chronic jaw pain by beating him to death in the head and jaw. Lawandcrime.com gave us this one very long headline from them and a very, 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 very deep, detailed story. You will want to go and click on the links in the rundown and go deeper into this one. Law and Crime is a it's a news aggregator of its own. It basically pulls out stories that are very deep, very dark, very law and crimey-ish, and this one falls in line with this one. This one talks about Joseph O'Boyle, who's 22, said he accepted legal culpability on charges of criminal homicide, criminal trespassing, and possession of an instrument of crime over November 2020 murder of Dr. James Sowa. He's a man from Pennsylvania, and essentially is how it goes. 2 days after Halloween in 2020, Boyle walked into Sowa's residence, which doubled as his office for the doctor's practice, and walked back out of the manor 52 seconds. Surveillance footage shows, according to law enforcement officials by the Courier Times. So it didn't take long to take care of this action. It was pretty gruesome, pretty sad. And now 2 years later, he is facing the consequences of these actions. Next story. People creeped out by CGI ABBA concert and said it gives them Black Mirror vibes. Hydration break. Ladbible.com gives this one. Ladbible, another aggregator of stuff. And I don't think I have this one loaded either. So we're going to just give you the quick rundown of this story. A CGI concert of ABBA. ABBA is producing, they actually produced a brand new album, new music. And to go along with it, they had a CGI concert produced. Them, I guess, performing, but them performing as avatars on the stage with magic and pixie dust and things like that. And people were freaking out about it. It basically, it reminded them a lot of Black Mirror type stuff, dystopian, not so far from the future stuff, where we're showing up for these sort of things, and you just hit a button, and then the concert appears magically in front of them. I think the biggest thing with this one, this basically apes off the and it's one of my favorite episodes of the very short 3-episode season that people sort of panned, starring Miley Cyrus. Or it was me, you, and Ashley too, where they were trying to create a virtual Ashley, who was a music singer that played by Miley Cyrus, because her aunt wanted to basically make money off of her and keep her in a coma. It's a long detail. You got to go watch it on Netflix. But this is the kind of thing people are getting out of this sort of virtual performer coming out there. You remember Simone with Al Pacino? Simone! Yeah, stuff like that. Let's go on to our next story this morning. Moving right along for a big old batch of stories. Jon Stewart slams Americans for tweeting about Memorial Day, but not showing up for veterans over burn pits. Independent.co.uk on that one. And it's kind of a weird irony that we had to go to a British paper to give us this story. It also was not an irony, but it also was a very, very good, very great knowledge to see about all the comments I got on this one. People essentially saying, good job, Jon Stewart. Now, Jon Stewart is taking some heat for a lot of things when no one is perfect. And some of these things that he's taking heat for recently are dealing with, his shows and sort of his takes on things. But this is one that people essentially agree with. Unless you're one of the people who just kind of stays quiet. Jon Stewart went out and blasted Americans who were out there saying Happy Memorial Day, and Memorial Day is for days who honoring all those who served, especially those who died, things like that. But the problem is they are essentially honoring those who died in the past, not honoring those who, of course, have served recently. We're dealing with the burn pits over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and of course now coming back with serious injuries. People who are alive and can use some support, not getting support because the support is going to the dead. Not that the dead don't deserve the support, but if there's live people we can talk about, live people we can shout out, live people we can do things for, Jon Stewart is like, why aren't we doing that? He's, of course, stood up for the firefighters and first responders and the police officers who are still dealing with issues from sickness, dealing with 9/11, He's been the ironic scion on justice for a lot of these things right here, that let's say an actor, an entertainer, comedian is taking the front line for these things. And you can, of course, fault some of the causes and some of the people running the causes, because at some point these things become businesses, and businesses have people who don't quite have the best interest when they try and make the business work. Jon Stewart has been extremely front and center about how things work, how he wants to get things out, and is not shy about saying what he's saying. And this is another case where he's not shy by saying, why are you showing love for the people who have passed, not for people who need your help right now? I clicked ahead in the story, so let's go ahead and get to this one. Dwayne Johnson daughter doesn't believe he voiced Maui from Moana. How is this possible? Well, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a 4-year-old. So the 4-year-old, Moana's a bit older than 4. So she was not around when he was voicing Maui from Moana. She knows, that's his daughter, that he is The Rock, and doesn't believe The Rock has it in him to sing about demigods and farting and guts and stuff. So it's a cute story. It's a fun story. It's going to play, apparently. We love us some Fox News, and they're playing stuff. Thank you. Yeah. So a little video is, he cut a video with his kid, that his 4-year-old, who is essentially saying that there's no way my daddy's not Maui, he's The Rock. It's cute. The Rock, who's like right at 50 years old, raising a toddler. This is like his, I think it's his 3rd child. He has in the stretch. I understand this because I have a 17-year stretch in my oldest and youngest. His oldest daughter is right now trying out for the WWE. In fact, she's wrestling under a bunch of well, she's in the training center for WWE, looking to make a debut maybe soon. His younger daughter, well away from joining dad in the rock business or the wrestling business. Maybe she'll join him in the movie business. This is much closer. First, you have to convince her that her dad is in the movie business, playing animated characters and not just beating people up as The Rock. Let's go to the next story. Isaac Hayes' family slams Trump using a song for NRA speech. DailyBeast.com on this one. And this one took me a while to kind of actually digest, because it was like, was he using? Because I didn't actually watch what happened. I saw some clips. I saw him do the little shimmy dance and all that stuff. But it was like, was he playing Shaft, or was it something from the trucker movie? Like, what exactly was going on? So what the song that was used, and we're going to get to that in a second. It was I'm sorry. It's not loading properly. This doesn't have the name of the song. Well, that's weird. It's a Sam and Dave song. Oh, there it is. Hold On, I'm Coming. I should highlight these things on the thing. So Isaac Hayes wrote Hold On, I'm Coming. And so that's what Donald Trump had playing for him at the convention. And because of that, the state of Isaac Hayes is a bit pissed, and they have the right to be pissed. Here's something that's odd about music and music licensing, music rights. People think that you buy a song, you buy a CD, now you buy a stream, a digital thing, you get a streaming service, and you play that song. You can play it any place you want to. There are limits. This is something that I fight every single day with people from working in radio for over 25 years, almost 30 years, and dealing with licenses of people wanting to be regular people wanting to use regular music on their theme songs for their not heard podcast, to explain they don't have the rights. They have to pay money for that, and how much money is paid into this. There's a lot of rights and musical license fee that goes into these things, and a lot of artists will tell people flat out no, they can't use these things. Revolution, if the owner of the John Lennon catalog does not want you to play it, they'll say stop playing it. A lot of songs get pulled out, and they're like party songs or songs that sort of have a meaning to it. This is one as well. Hold On, I'm Coming may just be sort of background noise for most cases, but in this case, the family of Isaac Hayes didn't want Trump holding on or coming out to this actual song. Here's a cute one. It's a really cute one because it's one of those things that we've been talking a lot about lately, and that's the fan football league. Johnny Menzel is in it. Mike Vick is going to go back into it, and quarterbacks apparently do some crazy stuff in the league. Here's a headline: QB who celebrated a touchdown by smoking joint on field has been cut by fan-controlled football league. That is all you posting mazes need to know, including there's the video of him hitting that touchdown, and then of course lighting up the blunt. Jason Stewart is no longer in football. He's not in the fan-controlled football league after this. I'll call it heinous crime. Of course, who's actually watching the fan football league? Enough people to call the plays, I guess. Enough people to have weird curiosity to it. But what's it actually impact to anybody of note? Not very much. Not too much at all. We shall see what is going to be going forward. But the fan football league, well, we'll see how Mike Vick does this year. Maybe he'll take his spot. We'll see how that goes going forward. And finally, let's do something of note that's maybe not as much known as we think it is. Paul Pelosi, some rich dude, husband of Nancy Pelosi. Oh, that's what's up. Arrested on suspicion of DUI in the area. San Francisco Gate.com gave us this one. Now, we went with a lot of stories today, and normally if we had 11 stories, we'd beef them up more. We'd probably do less, especially with all the things we've done today. But this is one we had to kind of drop in there because it basically speaks to privilege, for lack of anything else. Paul Pelosi picked up in the Bay Area because they live in San Francisco. That's where they reside, residents. Over the weekend, a suspicion of driving under the influence. Napa County booking records show Paul Pelosi, 82, was apprehended by police at 11:44 p.m. on Saturday and charged with 2 misdemeanors related to operating a vehicle while intoxicated. First reported by TMZ. Bail set at $5,000. Not very much. Appears to have been posted because in custody records no longer list Pelosi. So Paul Pelosi is the you say he's the money behind Nancy Pelosi. Two essentially rich, powerful people doing what they're doing. Nancy Pelosi gets a lot of barbs at her. Number one, for being the Speaker of the House and Congress. Number two, for just sort of being out of touch in a way that things are going. Maybe 82-year-old husband is the same way, except he makes a lot of money as well, and they can get away with stuff. We will go deeper into this. We'll see how the media will use this, although there are other things to worry about, i.e. guns and shootings, on how much coverage this would get, but there'd be probably a lot more coverage if there weren't for things like guns and wars and things like that actively happening, in our midst right now. This is our teaser story for today. This is a story that we might talk about tomorrow if you deem it necessary. We talked earlier, the number one story for the full weekend, we'll explain how that numbers work, was the story on tuition going up at Boston University. Here's one that's semi-related, and it is Harvard related, so there you go. A Harvard University student newspaper survey of graduates find very few lean conservative. This may be a Harvard thing itself, but what you're finding in colleges is maybe there's some argument for the conservatives saying there's a war on them and college campuses because there's very few conservatives or vocal ones on campuses. Maybe the war on conservatism is still a bit of a stretch, but it's, here's a survey from Harvard students saying how most people lean there. If this is something we deem something water coolerish for tomorrow, I will explain to you in a moment exactly how to make this work. The simple answer is give it some engagement when it posts. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. The more engagement it gets, the better chance we'll have to talk about it on tomorrow for things you might have heard for today, tomorrow. In the meantime, let's talk about something that I know you're going to hear right now, and that is how to keep the conversation project alive. One way is to stop by Blinkist and use their app on us for 7 days. This is a conversationproject.com/Blinkist is your link to us, our affiliate link for you to allow you to use the Blinkist app, get access to the full app for free for 7 days. And you can get a chance to listen to books and podcasts in 15 minutes or less. And some of the more bigger, thicker, heavier books out there, the larger audiobooks that take days to read, they don't boil them down quite in 15 minutes. It boils down to about 25 minutes. So some of them may go a bit longer, but Blinkist is your way to get yourself into books in a way you've never thought of before. You may have thought reading takes too long or audiobooks takes too long, takes too much time. Blinkist takes the main points from various books, nonfiction books and autobiographies, and breaks them down into those points. No filler, just the points. Different level of links from 5 to 10 based on what is going on. And you can read those points as an actual book on your phone, or you can listen to them in audiobook form. The blinks are easy to digest, give you the main points of the book, and you can say you read those great books. They often highlight things like Freakonomics because they've been doing that in the commercials for all those years. Freakonomics might be 20 years old at this point, but books like that, you can read autobiographies like the Obama's autobiographies, which are very, very big and thick. You can read them in within 20, 25 minutes based on Blinkist. Check out books that you've missed, books that you know you should be reading by going to thisisconversationproject.com/Blinkist. We're gonna give you access to the full app for 7 days. So no fake outs, no, one book a day based on what's the heavy choice. You get a chance to go through the whole system, check out the shortcast, check out the Blink books, and get it all from Blinkist. Now, how things work around here. Let's start by talking about our main website again, The Conversation Project, housed at thisistheconversationproject.com. When you go to that website, you'll see more about what we are all about. This Conversation Project is, the name has shifted quite a bit. The process has been tried a bit, but it's been all about the whole process, having conversations with people since its initial start as a survey website, survey source, to its turn into a news aggregator, from turn into things you might not have heard here, and of course the 8 Things to Talk About newsletter, and of course the weekly wrap-up podcast. All those things basically conversations about the news and things people really are chatting about. Find out some of our history, find out some of where we're going in the future, and also find the links for sponsorships and partnerships. Keep things going here at the program. Our feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/thisistheconversationproject and Twitter.com/th_conversation. What those do is they give you access to the news stories we are pulling every 50 minutes. It's going to be kind of light because it's a holiday, and so there's usually light stuff. I had not heard any. Well, there have been some extra shootings and things going on, but other than that, I haven't heard of any massive things popping up to expect for the day. So it may be a light day into Tuesday. It was kind of a hard day to fill up all the way through. But for today, we offered up to you 11 stories picked from the top 30 stories of engagement. We had over 90 stories, maybe 93, 94. I have to look at the spreadsheet again. 94 stories for the Friday to Monday morning to pick from. We shifted for engagement. I said we took 11 from the top 30 and gave them to you here. Tuesday through Friday, we only have one day to choose from, and that only gives about 30 stories within that span of day. So we'll pick from the top 15, top half of the stories, and give you 5 to 7. Sometimes we'll push it, but 5 to 7 stories going forward. If you're not getting this tomorrow, then you did not follow us at our YouTube page or our feeds for Facebook. If you go follow us on Facebook, you'll get the notification for this tomorrow. If not, go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube to link to our YouTube channel. More things we have today. Things include birthdays. Memorial Day birthdays going out to Stephen Tobolowsky, who's 71 years old today. Now, who is Stephen Tobolowsky? The name may not be familiar, but the long-standing working character actor's face is very familiar, especially for fans of the movie Groundhog Day. He is the insurance salesman that bumps into Bill Murray's character every single day for the span of Bill Murray's waking up on Groundhog Day. He's an insurance guy that he punches, that he talks to, does all whatever there. That's Stephen Tobolowsky. Happy birthday to you, sir. 71 years old today. Idina Menzel is 51 years old today. She's known for Broadway. She's known for musicals. She's known for movies. And she is the terror of all parents' lives as the voice and the singing voice and voicey voice. That made no sense. Of from Frozen. Yes, the Ice Queen who says "Let It Go," and the other song, the new song that's not as good as the old song, which is stuck in your head, already stuck in my head now. There you go. Javicia Leslie, 35 years old today. Now, in the listing that we pulled her down, of course said, it's supposed to list her as God frenemy. She played a character in that show, from 2 years ago, the one season lived long show there. She, of course, is now in a phase where she's out of another job. She took over the role of Batwoman for Batwoman, and that show, of course, just got canceled as well. So the fine actress Javicia Leslie Javicia Leslie, say that properly, give her her name propers, 35 years old today. And today, of course, Memorial Day. And for Memorial Day is a day where we don't so much mourn, but we do celebrate those who have given their lives, those who pay the ultimate sacrifice for, in America, our freedoms. We offer thanks to those and a thanks to those who serve now. And as Jon Stewart says, give some thanks to those who are serving now and suffering. Don't wait until they're dead to give them their roses, give them their propers right now. For Memorial Day, we have two facts going out the door. One serious, one fun. First one, the end of May was chosen for Memorial Day because they'd be enough flowers to bloom to decorate soldiers' graves. I should have when I rewrote that, I should have checked that they'd be to there that there be there would be. I didn't pick that up, but that's essentially why Memorial Day is the tail end of May, waiting for spring and waiting for flowers to bloom, so there'd be plenty of flowers to put on graves for the soldiers to decorate during the day to celebrate the day. And one more thing, because it's the unofficial start of summer and grill season, 57% of Americans will be grilling on Memorial Day. This one right here will be too. What will they be grilling? 85% on burgers, 80% on steaks, hot dogs 79%, and chicken 73%. So it's all pretty tightly wound there. Burgers, more or less the standard. Today, we've got burgers, we've got hot dogs, we've got scrimps. There you go. And we got some sort of vegetables. We got zucchini, and we'll probably maybe throw some corn on as well. Didn't pick up any good corn yesterday, but we will see what we got going on going forward. And with that, we are done. Thank you so much for joining us for the later edition of Things You Might Have Heard on this Monday. If you're watching this in the future, that's later in the day or later in the week, whenever, drop a line in the live chat so we know where you are. We'll give you your prompts going forward. Much love to my love, Christine with K, who popped in on the live version here as well. Suffering through having to, sleep in because, that's such a suffrage, sleeping in on a holiday to get to this right here. Also suffering through me getting up early to work on food because that's suffrage as well. What we're going to do for tomorrow, which should be more of a normal day, more of a steady strategic day, more of a day that's structured. We will give you 5 to 7 stories from 30 or so from today on. Now, it may be a fight to get good stories today, so some of the stories that may linger on from the past, from late Sunday, may pop into the fold. We won't repeat any stories, I promise, but they may happen there as well. So we want you to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow will be 5:50, because if it's not 5:50, we'll all be late for work. So there you go. But we want to also remind you to stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task, because we need you to be here to do the great things that we need you, all of us need for you to do. Once again, thank all those who have served, and we, of course, say a bit of a prayer in memorial to all those who have lost their lives, defending what we like to call as freedoms. We also want to say some extra prayers to some folks fighting for their freedoms right now. It is a bit of a bit on the nose, if you will, but we know we're watching what's going on in Ukraine. We're also watching what's going on in other places like Sudan and in Syria and places like that. So don't let them think that they're forgotten. Oh, by the way, let's not forget about Brittany Griner as well. Brittany Griner, who is still in a Russian prison, and we want her out, definitely. With that, we're going to say thank you one more time and get out of here. I got grilling to do. I got to go get the grill set. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow for more Things You Might Have Heard for today, tomorrow.